Hello, hello. Welcome. Hey, Queen. Hey, Top Hats. Good to see you guys. I hope everybody is doing well. I am well. I am very good. Um, I just thought we would quickly kind of go over, like, there's been a few interviews and stuff that some of the Gonzalez family have done leading up to the sentencing. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that, Top Hats. I think it's going to be quite heavy. That would be my thoughts. Hey, try me. Good to see you. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit heavy. Listening to the families is going to be a little bit hard, right? It's going to be real. I can't imagine being them, and especially since they don't know very much. Hey, Freeside, good to see you. Yeah, it's kind of sad because when you think about it, a lot of things have leaked out, or different things have happened, but they don't really know what happened, and this is getting more frustrating. I think it's getting more frustrating, to think of how much has been. Yep. No, exactly right. Yeah, I agree 100%, Queen. Yep. Yeah, Top Hats, I saw that also. I thought that was nice. I like that. I thought that was really nice because, um, again, just think about being those parents. You can't put yourself there. Like, I just cannot imagine how they possibly feel. And it's frustrating that they have just decided to, again, I don't need to rehash the whole thing, but honestly, to me, he didn't release it. A whole lot of conditions on that. So, God, it's horrible. And I just caught a little bit of it, but the news cycle has been just absolutely insane lately. But I just caught Stephen Stearns plead put in a plea of contest, apparently. So he didn't plead guilty, but pretty wild. The crime world is really scary and very dark, very heavy a lot of times, most of the time. Exactly. Right, Queen, right. That's just it. Um, I don't even know what to say. I cannot. What do you say? There is nothing to say. And there again, I'm very interested in what the judge is going to say. Um, some of the sentencing, the judge just does such a great job with Alec Murdaugh. That was amazing. And even that kid, but that one kid that they starved him to death, that judge did an awesome job. That is, you saw a report that said there were anywhere from 25 to 50 serial type things active in the USA. Wow. That's very scary. You don't want to think that everybody you know is up to something, or everybody you see or whatever. But then again, it's really crazy. I was watching absolutely, though, there are no words. There are no words. That's it. You're 100% right. I was watching this thing where, of course, it's some kind of TikTok challenge that you go up to someone's door and just start beating on it and kicking it and carrying on, a whole group of kids. And apparently that's happening here in the town I live in. It's been happening. And somewhere, I don't know how it happened, but somebody was shot and killed doing that. Like, I mean, even just stupid shit like that. It just seems like there's always some kind of nonsense. Like, people are just crazy. And I don't really know how that gets in your head. Thank God I don't ever have thoughts about doing shit like that. Like anything like that. But there are people who do. Wow. I don't see how people are getting by with it so much these days, though. With all of with cameras everywhere, and even we live just about, I don't know how far, a mile from a mall, and some guy recently got out of an Uber and started shooting at the Uber driver. And he was telling the police that the Uber driver wouldn't let him out of the car, and that Uber driver threatened him with a gun. Well, there's cameras everywhere, and they're like, no, none of that happened. It's all on camera. Everything's on camera. That's not what happened. I don't know what the hell kind of crazy shit he decided to do that for. Can you imagine? It's fucking nuts. Hey, Jonathan. So the judge has put out oh, really? That's what you have it on? I don't know. Ours have different. I kind of just push like a different thing on my phone to look at a different angle or something. But we have them up on top of the house and a little bit lower too. We have them inside the house also. Not gonna lie, mostly because when we're gone, we get on there and talk to the dogs and watch them while we're gone. A little bit silly, maybe. But so this is kind of interesting. Let me see. Oh, wait. Oh, I want to tell you guys. So, um, Jack's back in school now, and I have him very little, actually. Kind of sad. Um, but tomorrow, I'm gonna have to go and get him during while the sentencing is happening. But I will. I'll have it on. I'll be on for at least an hour before, and just letting you guys know that. But I wanted to play for you. The Gonzalez family was on today's show. I've seen quite a few interviews with the family. Did you guys, okay, if you guys haven't gone and listened to that book over on the Rumble channel, oh my God. They talk about JLR and Olivia. I swear that kills me. So sad. Just look at them. Oh my God, it makes my heart hurt. Ugh.
Our Kaylee Gonzalez's parents, Steve and Christy, and their attorney, Shannon Gray. Thank you both for being here this morning. Let me just start with both of you. I know it's been, thank you, 2.5 years now. It's long 2.5 years. The last few weeks, especially, I would imagine have been fairly difficult. How are both of you holding up as we sit here right now?
Tired, exhausted. At this point, ready just to move on.
You guys remember when we watched Steve Gonzalez talking to Ashley Banfield, and he said they were getting ready to leave. Remember that? I think because they were on Today's Show and Good Morning America. I think they were getting ready to leave for, I'm assuming, these interviews.
Just to get this past us.
Trying to catch up a little bit too. We expected to go to trial this summer, and I had 250 hours set aside, had my schedule, had things going. So it was a radical change for us. So now we're just trying to wrap our head around this new development, and we're still a family. Still got to take care of ourselves. So we're moving on.
You've had a lot to wrap your head around for the past couple of weeks, and sort of whiplash, if you will, to have Brian Kohberger in court that day, admitting his guilt, admitting in open court everything he did. What was that like, even if you weren't in the actual courtroom for it? What was that like to hear him actually say he's guilty?
It was very surreal. It was very emotional to hear it. Something that, I don't think that we were ever really prepared to hear or think that we would hear. So, yeah, it was hard. It was definitely hard. I wish that, he would have had to say maybe their names other than just simple yeses and nos. But
why?
I think it shows a little bit more accountability and taking, owning up to what he did, to have to say the victims' names, our daughter's name, not just yes, yes, yes. I just feel like that was a really easy way to admit his guilt.
Yeah, I agree. We want to see some sternness when you see 4 lives lost. He wasn't even asked to stand. It's like those are the type of things that we want to send a message.
Remember that? Like, they actually told him he didn't need to stand. See, that's the thing about the judge. Like, I don't get that. It was that's how I feel too. Top hats. Seriously, why make it more comfortable for him? Yeah, when I heard that he said this, I was like, oh my God, that is exactly what happened. Like he didn't even have to stand up. And that may sound stupid to some people, but I totally get that. Like I absolutely get that. Wow.
You know, if you come after kids, people are going to put their foot down and they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that those kids are, you know, whoever did that is held to the accountability, the highest that there is. But, you know, it was quiet.
You've been somewhat critical of the state and how all of this was handled from the very beginning. And as I understand it, you also you wanted to go to trial. You did not want to see this plea deal come to fruition. Why?
We've seen all the rumors, all the things that are out there. A gag order just kind of turned it into just a big, huge mess of conspiracy. So we don't want to live that for the next 10, 15 years. So if our community came together and they were the ones that said he was guilty, then it's not us saying it or one person saying it. It's everyone saying that. So there's power in that. I believe in the court system. I believe in our juries. And that's what we were prepared to do.
Christy, do you worry there are questions you will never get answered as a result of this deal? Because he doesn't have to say exactly what his motive was. He doesn't have to say where the murder weapon is.
I think it's worse than that. I think we're going to find out secrets through his sick, twisted mind.
Why?
He's going to write about it. He's going to have interviews, exclusive interviews with his family members or certain people. And that's how we're going to hear about it.
And to be fair.
And, you know, that's crazy because I kind of think that way. Like, he hasn't talked, but guess what else? He almost, it must be driving him crazy because the fact that he went in talking about it, because I believe firmly now that Papa Rogers person is him. I believe firmly about that. And he's going to want to. I think so. I do. And, you know, something that was mentioned this week, I've listened to so much stuff, but something that was mentioned was, remember how they said there was no, oh my God, it just left my head. Holy shit. No sexual, it wasn't that they had not been sexually abused. Component. Yes. Why did they say that? And how did they come to that conclusion? I mean, because do we know now that he didn't get his rocks off by doing this? I mean, honest to God. I don't think he can profit from it. I don't think he can profit. I don't know for sure. I don't think so, though. But that's exactly, I was just going to say, that's exactly right. Yep. It's not about money for him. Yep. That's what I believe. But how did they know there was no sexual component? See, they said a lot of things that, you know, that the community was not at risk. They said a lot of things that they don't know. Or they couldn't have known. You know, like, and like we talked the other night, that's what I believe is a lot of why the prosecution did this, like why they did it, because a lot of the shit they pulled was going to come out because really they were just trying to save the university the whole time. That's all they were doing. It is a sick and twisted. And I do believe that there was a sexual component 100%. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Frazzled. Good to see you. I think there was a sexual component. I think that he got off. He was thrilled with himself. That's my opinion. Try me. Did you watch the one night in Idaho? And even don't forget, you guys, on the Rumble channel, there is we played the book Idaho 4 by James Patterson. It's a good book. It's really good. I'm going to listen to it again. But the one night in Idaho is a really, really good documentary. There was stuff we had never heard in that. People we never heard from. But I do think that they had no way of doing that. I don't think they had no way of knowing that shit. They were so nervous about the university. And I get it. They have a job to do. I understand that. But let's be realistic here. You're being dishonest, first of all. And second, these kids were brutally massacred. I mean, fuck. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the FBI sometimes, but the fact is, if it weren't for the FBI, I don't know if this guy would have been arrested. Yes, right? I know that book actually is really good, you guys. It really is good. I learned a lot also. Yeah, I highly suggest listening to that.
That could happen because in this particular plea deal, there's nothing that forbids that.
Exactly.
What have you been told that we don't?
Nothing forbids that. Oh. What? You're very welcome, Frazzle. Nothing prevents him from... See, he's going to. But I agree. You know what? He doesn't need to be in a suit tomorrow. You know what? The thing is, that's all just, to not prejudice a jury. So he does not need to do that. He's been able to, meet with his attorneys, do all of his shit. He needs to be a fucking convicted felon now. That's right. That's right. Try me. Exactly right. Yep. Yep.
No, surrounding what happened that night.
Nothing.
We asked them, can you just tell us the last moments of our daughter so when we have our victims' statements, we can be as accurate as possible. We don't want any lies in those statements. We want pure, and they wouldn't even give us the facts of what happened.
Just some details too. Yeah. That would be hard to know, but we want to know it. We want to know.
I don't want to hear it from the media. I'd rather hear it from, the investigators.
I read recently that the coroner did give you some more detail.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What did the coroner say?
Hey, Mama.
The coroner said that kind of gave us a breakdown of the wounds and the ways that she had passed away. She'd definitely been stabbed multiple times, and they kind of described it as like a drowning that can occur. But she did say gagging.
Oh my! See, this is what I've heard too. They drown on their own, on the blood. So good to see you, Mama. And yes, what Queen said, please, everybody say a prayer for these families. I cannot imagine. You know, they're not going to sleep tonight. How many nights have they slept? I mean, there's just, again, there are no words. Trimia is absolutely right. There are no words.
There was some gagging, and
She had
he struck her in the face and
she had a
her.
broken nose. She had subdural hematomas. She had asphyxial injuries. She had some defense wounds on her arms.
Yeah.
And stabbed many, many times. But how many, we don't know.
And that should be part of the victim's impact statement. And we shouldn't be robbed of that. We should know all those details, and we don't want to say something that isn't accurate. Like we've heard the amount of times that she was stabbed, but we don't know from the actual fact finders.
Shannon, bring you in here. These parents have had to live a literal nightmare for almost 3 years now. Are there other documents that you want to see be made public that could provide them with some of the answers?
Well, we had a meeting with the prosecutors already asking about a full disclosure of all the discovery in the case. You know, if you go through the normal course, you'd be public disclosures, public records requests for the next 2 to 3 years to try to get everything. So we've asked about that ahead of time, because we want a full copy of the discovery, because we don't have any answers. They don't have any answers. It allows us to go through. They can redact whatever they need to redact, but then bring that in. And it's the Idaho State Police, it's the FBI, it's the Moscow Police Department that we would all request. And so they promised us that, and we're hoping that they keep their promise.
Steve, Christy, what do you want the world to remember about your little girl?
Just like Kaylee was just so fun. She was extremely smart. She had a beautiful smile, an amazing laugh, everything. I mean, everything about Kaylee was amazing, honestly. She just...
Very dedicated, hard worker. She's going to graduate with her degree a year early.
Yeah.
So she was going to light the world on fire, and we're missing her. You know, we're missing her.
Yeah, every day, everything about her, everything. If I could hear her laugh, hear her voice, see her smile.
Can't imagine it. Just can't imagine it. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for keeping her memory alive. And best of luck. I know the sentencing hearing is next week. So
yes.
Thanks again. And Shannon, thank you as well.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on...
Exactly. Give them answers. This is what is... Oh. God, you can't imagine. You cannot imagine what in the world they're going through. They don't know what happened. And what they do know that happened didn't come from the police. Yes, legs, absolutely. Very, very, I cannot imagine being them. I just can't. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna... Hold on. I haven't watched this yet, but I mean, watch something around it. We won't watch this whole thing, but...
Hey everybody, welcome to Banfield. I'm Brian Ensign in for Ashley tonight. I am in Idaho ahead of Brian Kohberger's sentencing 2 days from now. It is going to happen in the courthouse right behind me, the Ada County Courthouse. You can see they've got these yellow barricades up behind me, getting ready for all of the media. We're the first ones here. We've got a spot right up front. It's going to be a busy week here in Boise. And tonight, even President Trump is weighing in, calling for the judge to make Kohberger tell all, or at least tell why. President Trump today weighed in on the Kohberger trial. He had a whole message about it, which we're going to get to in a second. But with the plea deal already signed, will we actually learn more from Kohberger or from the judge at sentencing? I got a rare interview with one of the victim's sisters to learn how she is preparing for a brutal day in court and what she plans to say to the man who ended 4 young lives and changed hers forever. You won't want to miss that. Really, really raw and emotional. Also, new exclusive information tonight that we just confirmed about what Kohberger was wearing when he went home to Pennsylvania that made it more challenging for investigators to collect his DNA. Remember when he went home with his dad, drove home for Christmas break after the murders? We've got new information about something he was wearing that made it difficult for investigators. That's coming up a little later. Also new tonight, we are looking ahead to a make or break hearing for Lyle and Eric Menendez. 1 month from today, the brothers face parole boards for the first time since they were sent away for life for murdering their parents. It will be the closest that they have come so far to walking out of prison. But it's not their only chance. A judge ruled the other day that evidence the brothers were sexually abused by their father must now be considered. That was another big win for the guys. And since it wasn't at the brothers' trial, some sort of remedy following that story since day one. That's coming up later in the hour. So it's a jam-packed hour, but of course we will begin tonight right here in Boise, Idaho, here at the courthouse behind me. On Wednesday, a case that has gripped the state and the nation for more than 2.5 years will officially close with Brian Kohberger sentencing for killing 4 college students in a small town almost 300 miles from where I'm standing right now. We know Kohberger is headed to prison for the rest of his life, but what so many find so troubling, even after his public guilty plea, is the fact that we may never know everything. Why did he do it? Why those particular kids in that particular house on that particular night? The plea agreement does not make him tell his motive, and Kohberger's lead attorney, Ann Taylor, says there are no plans right now for him to offer any details at his sentencing. But the pressure on Judge Stephen Hippler to make Kohberger speak, it is even higher now. And this shocked me. I was on the plane flying here today, and when I saw this post, I couldn't believe it. A post from President Trump today about the Brian Kohberger case. This is what he posted on Truth Social. Brian Kohberger, who was responsible in Idaho for the deaths of 4 wonderful young souls, has made a plea bargain deal in order to avoid the death penalty. These were vicious murders with so many questions left unanswered. While life imprisonment is tough, it's certainly better than receiving the death penalty. But before sentencing, I hope the judge makes Kohberger, at a minimum, explain why he did these horrible murders. There are no explanations. There is nothing. People were shocked that he was able to plea bargain, but the judge should make him explain what happened. And then he said, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." Now, officially, President Trump doesn't and won't really have a say in any of this, but could his post actually pressure the judge to ask Kohberger more questions? Could he try to force a confession out of Kohberger on Wednesday? The families of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Maddie Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez, they will have their chance to finally be heard in court on Wednesday. I spoke with Kaylee's sister, Olivia Gonzalez, on my podcast, Brian Enton Investigates. Take a listen.
This is actually really good. Let me see if I've missed anything in chat. I know. I love that he did that, Frazzled. I love it. I love that. There were a lot of comments that said that might be the only post that he's ever made that everybody could agree on. But of course, then everybody didn't, you know. That's the way that goes, whatever. I love it though, yeah.
Like to know. I know you wanted other
Jerry
things to be in the plea deal.
Our main argument wasn't ever for there not to be a plea deal. It really came down more to let's get a full confession. I also think that the full admission would have been helpful, not only for our healing, because I think for me specifically, and I wish I wasn't this way, I need that full picture, right? I still just feel like I don't even understand what the hell happened.
Look at how much weight she's lost. Isn't that wild? Why am I not seeing all the... Okay, maybe I am. Okay. Look at how thin she is. I was blown away.
Right? Like none of it makes sense to me. And I can look at these facts, but as far as putting something together in my head that makes sense, it's really difficult for me to do with a lack of.
Did you ever get a chance to tell the prosecution that you wanted a full confession, and did they ever respond?
So as soon as we got the email on Sunday, I was kind of trying to do everything that I could. We didn't even know if the deal had been sent to the defense. But immediately I said, has this been sent to the defense? And like, can we include concessions for the victim's family in the form of XYZ? And at first it wasn't just the confession. It was also, kind of like, can we make him not be able to make money off of this? Can we make him not be able to talk to members of the media? I understand that there's First Amendment rights there and stuff, but in the moment, you're not necessarily thinking super clearly. You're just trying to say like, well, give me something here.
I think on the outside, everyone has wanted to know what the motive is. Have you been able to get any information? Is there anything that we don't know?
I don't know a why. I think that even if he was hooked up to a lie detector and given truth serum, his, why would be that he was just desperately trying to feel anything at all because he's a psychopath and he doesn't feel human emotions the way we do. I don't think it's a reason that would make sense to any of us because we aren't that. I think that reasoning would only make sense to that type of, human being or whatever you want to call him.
Would you want Kohberger to speak at some point? I mean, you were saying how like for you want to know everything. Would you want him to like do some kind of interview where he tells all?
I hope that after sentencing, no one ever says his name again, because I think that an individual like he is, any attention is positive. He views it positively. It doesn't matter if someone's talking poorly or talking positively about him, because attention is what is craved and it feeds into his ego. So for me, I think the best way to, kill an ego is to stop feeding it.
What about the sentencing? Like,
I agree.
I know you're getting ready for it.
Yep.
Like, where are
Exactly
you?
right.
Where are you at in that process?
My speech isn't about the process, the court, the lawyers, the judge. It's not even really about Kaylee or Maddie, because Kaylee and Maddie know. They've been with me every single step of the way, and I refuse to get up there and further re-victimize myself over and over and over for a defendant who does not give a damn. I no amount of tears, no amount of, tear jerkers, hearts, and nothing is ever going to make him feel anything at best. And at worst, he enjoys it. And I'm just not.
I think she's right. I think he does enjoy it. And 100% right. Yep. I think he should be forced to tell what happens, or what happened and what his motive was. But honestly, I mean, are you going to believe it? I wouldn't believe anything he said. I don't expect him to say a word tomorrow. I don't expect that. But you're so right. I hope that he is in orange and handcuffs. He can't come in a suit. Yeah, I think he should be made to say something. I do. I think, all right. I don't think anyone's going to believe it. One of those Lori belts. Yeah, right? I hope they have a Lori belt on him. I hope he's got, what is all this? Shackles and all of it. Exactly. Right. Right. Right, Jerry. Yep. The family should be allowed to just press the button over and over. Yeah, this is going to be kind of wild, huh? And what is it? Like, okay, did you guys know this? Check this out, okay? There are people in states that have thousands and thousands of people on death row. Idaho has less than 10 people on death row. We know that one of them is fucking Mantits. I mean, for this state to have such, a low, obviously a low crime rate to some degree, if they have less than 10 people on death row. And look at Ada County Courthouse has been the biggest courthouse for how long? Between the Daybells and Kohberger. That seems kind of crazy, right? I think it's wild. Hey, Alberta. Isn't that wild, though?
I'm just not gonna do it.
So you heard Olivia there. She believes that Kohberger is incapable of feeling anything. But we are learning new tonight that he was methodical, trying to cover up the murders and stay off law enforcement's radar. Sources tell News Nation tonight that when Brian Kohberger got back to Pennsylvania from Idaho for Christmas break after the murders, when he left his parents' house, they tell us that he was always wearing gloves, according to the sources, and that is the reason why the FBI had to do a trash pull to get his DNA. Remember, they had to go in his parents' trash, pull out the Q-tip, and get the DNA that way, which connected back to his dad, because according to our sources, pretty much every time he left the house, he was wearing gloves.
A Q-tip? Ew. I never heard that. I couldn't be a cop. I am not going to deal with somebody's fucking used Q-tip. I can't. That is so gross to me right now. Yes. Oh my God. That's a great idea, True Talk. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. Read. Yeah. They should have to say what evidence they have, what they have. The thing is, what people don't understand is we all have a right to be in that courtroom. As a public, we have a right to be there. We have a right to this information. The citizens of Idaho have paid for the prosecution, have paid for the defense, and he was given a blank fucking check. You're right. They absolutely should have to do that. Yes, I love that. They should have to. I think they did not handle this well from the get-go. You know, listening to the book, watching the One Night in Idaho, which again, I'm just saying, on my Rumble channel, we have all 4 episodes of the One Night in Idaho. Excellent. It's very good. We have the book over there from Audible. They're very, very good. And we learned a lot from there. But now I lost my train of thought since I said that. Sorry. Lots of information on that, though. Seriously. It is public. I mean, it is supposed to be public. We all are allowed to go there. We're allowed to go and sit in a courtroom every single day of our lives if we want to. We pay for this. It is 100% our business. But I think when they came out telling people, the way the families found out through their mass text messaging, I mean, good God. Yep. No, I do agree. I like that thought too. You're right. Because he enjoys this. He enjoys this. Exactly right. Mama's the boss. That's the fact. And the people of Idaho paid for all these expert witnesses for him, all this shit. When I feel like Ann Taylor took this as far as she could, and then they decided to do this. That's what I think. When it finally came down to, no, it's going to go to trial, then they decided to do this. They let the state pay for all kinds of horse shit. A change of venue, all this stuff. None of that needed to happen. It didn't. They played a fucking game. And they're continuing to, in my opinion. They continue to play a game. Not giving the family, not giving the public the information. Right. Now, I understand that. But the fact is, you know, I mean, they do have a right to at least say their piece. I don't even know if all the families are going to speak. I really have no idea. I have a feeling they won't all speak. I don't know. But they did say only immediate family can speak. So what Olivia Gonzalez had said, that like they had aunts and different family members that wanted to speak, they're not allowed to. Yeah, I think the majority of this shit comes from that university. I think the university, Old Tracksuit, has managed a lot of this. And I don't like that guy. I don't like him one bit. Yep. They don't want to be called out. They fucked this shit up from the get-go. Like I said, these mass text messages telling people that the community is not at risk, they're not in danger. How do you know that? How the hell do you know that? They didn't. They said there was no sexual component. How do they know that? They weren't sexually assaulted. That does not mean that he didn't get his ass off on this shit. I think he did. Sick fuck.
Also, another new nugget of information tonight. You remember the investigation into the leaks over the Dateline episode? The judge here was very, very upset about it. Well, News Nation has learned just because sentencing on Wednesday is happening and the gag order is over, we have learned that the investigation into the leak is ongoing and has not ended, and that the investigation will continue. So it'll be interesting to see where that leads. Joining me now is trial attorney and host of the podcasts, Two Angry Men.
I think he was going to plead the whole time. My personal belief is that Ann Taylor soaked this as long as she could, worked on her resume. I think they knew they were going to do this. That's what I think, because it came out after she tried to get another delay. I don't think it was the leaks. That's my personal belief, because, and I also think that the prosecutor, he has this stellar record, but his record is because everybody pleads, not by him actually winning. Yep. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think they decided to do that once they were finally stopped. They weren't going to delay the trial. They decided to go ahead and plead. That's my belief. Yeah, right. I think he did plan to plead the whole time. I do. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, right. Yeah, I think the prosecution, they allowed that school to be way too big of a part of this. That was such bullshit from the get-go, from day one.
And reasonable doubt, Mark Garagos. Nice to see you, Mark. Thank you for coming on tonight. First of all, what do you make of President Trump's post today about the Kohberger case? And could that actually push the judge into trying to get some kind of confession out of Kohberger on Wednesday?
I doubt that it's going to push the judge to get into to do anything he wasn't going to do anyway. There's two things, however, that have kind of struck me about this plea deal. Number one is generally when you're trying to get somebody to take the death penalty off the table in a negotiation, which is fairly common in capital cases, a lot of times there are either attorney proffers or there are debriefs that the prosecutor requires. I don't know if that's been done in this case. I don't know if already the prosecutor has said, as part of the obligation to not seek the death penalty, he's asked some questions or he's met with them. And I don't know that they would reveal that if he had. As far as the judge goes, if this were federal court, in federal court, judges have the ability to have somebody stipulate to a factual basis and refuse to take the plea and say, I want to know this, I want to know that, I want you to answer my questions about the factual basis for the plea. We're not in federal courts, so that doesn't have much import here, but it is something where I understand from the family's standpoint why they want more information. I mean, I don't quite understand the way that this is being kind of, the public is getting the information, because clearly if the prosecutor was going to do this, and obviously, and I shouldn't say obviously, but the families are split in terms of whether or not they buy into this bargain. But this is actually, I think, a win for the prosecution in terms of getting a plea, not having to go through trial, not having to go through the circus. And ultimately, I think the same for the victims.
It's a win for both sides. Think about it. Ann Taylor managed to save his life, and prosecution gets a conviction. They both can chalk this up as a victory for both of them. She did exactly right. And then look at her, and she worked on her resume. That's what she did. She was going to run this as long as she could. I think they knew they were going to plea. I believe that. Exactly right. Yep. They both won. That's right. Yep. That's why I said I put some pictures of him only in a jail uniform on my thumbnail, and tomorrow I don't have him on there because I am done with his shit. Of him getting shanked. Yeah. Yeah, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about him getting shanked. Yep. I'm right there too. I'll happily talk about that. Yes, 100%. Yes, true talk. That to me, I mean, I've called this a good thing to that point, that they're not going to drag it out. It will cost less. He can go and be in general population where chances of him getting shanked are a lot higher than if he's on death row. Yep. Right. Right. Oh, absolutely. I would never say I did something if I didn't do it. I fucking refuse. I refuse to apologize if I'm not sorry. I won't do it. I am more than happy to say I'm sorry that you are upset about it. Sorry you're upset. If I meant it, I fucking meant it. I'm not apologizing. I'm damn sure not going to apologize for something I didn't do. Yep. Yeah, and Stephen Avery too. Oh, you guys, did you know Ozzy Osbourne died today? Very sad. Anyway, I'll finish this. I am going to play a little bit of Ozzy's last performance.
But at the same time, the prosecutor, I would have hoped, would have gotten the information and shared it privately with the families to give them some degree of, the word that always gets used is closure.
Yeah, and I know that has not happened just because I've been in touch with the families and they haven't gotten any shred of information about a confession or anything more than what we know besides the fact that he pled guilty. That's it. But I'm curious, with these sentencings, Mark, how do they typically work? Because there's going to be a lot of family members that want to speak from the different families. Will they speak first and then Brian Kohberger would be given the opportunity to speak second?
Generally, that's the way it works. Generally, what happens is you get a victim impact statement. You're a defense lawyer. It's one of the toughest things to sit through as part of your job is to listen to victim impact statements. If you've got any kind of empathy whatsoever, it's absolutely gut-wrenching. You go through all of that. Then the judge will hear the arguments of the lawyers. Generally, I say, most judges will say the defendant or the accused has a right to allocute, to say something on his behalf. You do not have to. I often counsel clients not to say anything if it is a deal that is set in stone because it doesn't help. In this case, you do have this kind of illusory no right to appeal. As the judge has already pointed out, there's no way to really enforce that other than to say, have an appellate court say we're going to enforce the plea bargain and not entertain an appeal if you've already waived it. But you can always, there's always going to be avenues by which you can bring a successive petition later on.
Right. But so after, so the victims' families will get a chance to finally speak. Then could the judge say, based on all of this pressure and anger from the families, could the judge say, Brian Kohberger, we would like to hear more from you. We would like to hear more details about what happened. I mean, would that be allowed?
Well, look, there is a separation of powers. Just because the prosecutor wants to go in and do a deal does not mean that a judge can rubber stamp it or has to rubber stamp it. A judge can say, I want more information. A judge can say, I want to have a colloquy with the accused before he pleads. I want to make sure this is a knowing and voluntary waiver, which is the nomenclature that you use. A judge has a great deal of authority to engage on this because the judge is the one who's going to sentence. I've seen judges on many occasions say, I'm not going to go along with this. I'm the sentencing judge. I'm not bound. I'm not constrained, and I don't have to do it. In this case, I find that to be highly unlikely. But then again, in this case, the highly unlikely seems to be the likely outcome at every point. So I don't want to make any predictions about it. And I'm certainly no expert on Idaho state procedure, but I will tell you that there is no way that a judge could be constrained from asking questions, getting more information, and satisfying him or herself that it is a knowing and voluntary waiver.
Okay, so he could ask questions if he wanted to, it sounds like. Even though Kohberger has pleaded guilty, is there still any benefit legally for him to show some remorse at the sentencing? Like, I'm thinking, could he get to go to a better prison in Idaho? I mean, is there some reason that he would still almost want to show remorse and impress the judge to a certain extent? Or does it not even matter anymore now that the deal has been worked out?
I think it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I know that I could make an argument that somehow it matters, and you could make an argument for safety purposes or protective custody purposes or this, that, or the other. The reality is it doesn't matter one whit.
I'm thinking about this defense attorney, Ann Taylor. And, I've been following the case for, years now and seen her at all the hearings. She's stayed totally tight-lipped. She never says a word. But, you're a criminal defense lawyer. I mean, what is it like for her right now? Because she stood by him through all of this. She said she believed in his innocence several times, very passionately. She'd put her hand on his shoulder in court and say, I believe this man is innocent. What do you think it's like for her at this stage?
I have seen so much chatter about her, undeserved, so much hate and vitriol directed towards her that it's, as a fellow member of the sorority or fraternity of criminal defense lawyers, I will tell you, there's no amount of money, whatever the amount that she's getting paid, that is worth the amount of hate that you receive. And she did.
Oh, I disagree with that. I think, you know what, and he's the same way. Yeah, it's easy for him to say. She has benefited greatly. Yes, she has. And again, as a capital case, she saved his life. There you go. She brought up how much ridiculous nonsense. And I think they knew 100% they were going to plead. They just wanted to drag everything out and let the families go through what they've gone through. Look at, like how Steve said, and we all know this. We all know that with the change of venue and all that, what she did is let them go and set up lodging during this time, take off work, have all this. They spent a lot of money. They, made all these preparations because she was trying to get it delayed again. And when it didn't work, all of a sudden there's a plea. That's the way I see it. That's exactly when it happened. It's exactly when it happened. I think she deserves all the hate that she gets. And you know what? Because she's also, again, going to make a lot more money. She just did what she did for her resume. The next sick fuck that comes out is going to want this. It happens all the time. Yep. Exactly right. True talk. And this is the thing. She, this is the one thing that drives me crazy. Remember how she wanted to come up with a different suspect that they had come up with. I really would love to know who the fuck they were trying to pull in on that one. And it's really weird because when he was arrested, he asked, has anybody else been arrested? And then just not even a month ago, she filed to have a delay, and there was the hearing over whether they could present this other suspect. Right. And he knows that too because he studied all that shit. But all of these things have been tactics to delay everything. It wasn't for them to get more information. They had everything. It wasn't about that. They were all stall tactics. That's what they were. Yep. Right. And you wonder, okay, is that why they have wanted to keep everything sealed? Because they all want to write a book? And let me just be clear. When you're listening to God, at this point, I feel like I'm kind of confused where I'm hearing so much information between the book and all these things. But, there's all this stuff about the chief of police, how it's been very hard on him. And I get that it has been. I'm not saying that it hasn't been. You know, I grew up with a family of police officers. My dad was a homicide detective. I get it. That is hard on them. It actually is. But let's be very clear. The fact is that those are professions that they chose. These families didn't choose any part of this kind of insane, crazy, gruesome, horrific shit. Oh, that's a good thought, True Talk. Yeah. Right? Yep, he had it in his head what he was going to do. Wow. Yeah. Oh. Yep. No, I agree, Top Hat. Right. Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. No, because 100%. I think they knew there was no jury pool to taint. There never would be. I don't think they ever intended on going to trial. Yep. Move it to a whole nother county. And yeah, I believe every bit of it has been a waste of money and a stall tactic. I believe that on both sides. Neither one of them want this shit to come out. It's both that don't want this shit to come out. Hey, Happy. Yes, you're absolutely right. He's never going to see the light of day. And he's going to be in general population where somebody can shank his fucking disgusting ass. I hope that happens. Hey, DC. Hey, love. Yep, I agree with all that. I do. It's disgusting. Yep. That's what I said. And her job was to save his life, a capital murder case. It's a win-win for both sides. And they both have been deceitful, in my opinion. And they want to keep everything out of the press because it doesn't look good for the defense, obviously. And it doesn't look so great on the prosecution. He can chalk up another win. Right. No, you're right. Yeah, and everybody's emotions may not matter to anybody, but knowledge of what happened actually does matter. I mean that's really our right. True. You never know, though. Yeah, you never know. But for sure, if he's on death row, there's no chance at getting at him. I bet he at least gets his ass kicked. Look, you know what? He's going to be some kind of he's going to end up, you know, helping people out in prison with their cases or some shit. Who knows? You know, no, I doubt it though. He's a weirdo. He's a weird. That's what's going to get him shanked, Top Hats, is that he's a fucking weirdo. He's weird as shit. Right. We do have a right to the information. Right, right. Well, absolutely, we can't. 100%. I love it, Top Hats. I love it.
And has done an admirable job, zealously defending her client. Her job is not to be a window dressing. Her job is not to kind of curry favor with the public opinion. Her job is to zealously defend and to explore every possibility of holding the government to their responsibility if they're going to attempt to put somebody to death. That's what she is supposed to do, what she's sworn an oath to do. And instead of criticizing her, I think that which has been totally off base, I think people should herald somebody who does that with absolutely, nobody's giving her pats on the back. Nobody's saying what a great job she's done. She has done exactly what the system cries out for and done it, I think, from my standpoint and my viewpoint. I don't know her, but I've watched her, as you have, admirably.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Mark Garrigo, stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Not finished with you. We've got you after this break because we are closing in on a very important date for two of your very important clients.
Yeah, I'm done with those boys. I don't want to hear any more about them. And of course, he's going to be all about no Shawshank Redemption. Oh my God, that's funny. Oh my God. We're too funny. Yeah, no, I'm not impressed with her myself. All the shit she pulled, again, was all tactics, and I guess that's what you're supposed to do as a defense attorney. I don't know. I don't have to like it though. But no, I don't think he's going to fare well because he is a creep. He's a weirdo. He is a coward. I don't. So what the judge has done also is, which is kind of interesting. Is that going to come up good? Yeah. So oh, sweet boy. So the prosecuting attorney moves this court for an extension of the no contact orders previously entered herein preventing defendant from any contact with the victims pursuant to Idaho Code. This motion is based on the fact that defendant has now entered guilty pleas to all offenses charged in the indictment and will be sentenced on the 23rd. No current or no contact order expires on January 5th, 2027, and the state respectfully requests that they extend this for an additional 99 years. Right. Yep. Like, who are the victims? Good question. Yep. Well, I don't know. I wonder about what about even what about Dylan and Bethany? I mean, are Dylan and Bethany victims? I think they are. I think they are never going to be okay again. Yeah, it's not that clear. What exactly does that mean? I mean, they will. You're absolutely right, Truth. They will need therapy forever. I can't imagine how they feel even today. Like, and then to think that people went after them, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot. I can't imagine being those girls. It's all just so horrific. It's all so horrible. Yep. It will mess them up. And plus, you know, the one looked right at him. God. Oh. I can barely handle the thought of that guy. And I've never seen him in person. They will need therapy forever. They absolutely will. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yep. It will. I think it will. I don't know how you I don't know how you get past that. I don't. It's horrible. I feel really sad for them. I feel really sorry for those girls. And again, people attacking them, saying all this stuff. Yeah, that was a shock to all of us when we first heard that. Right. Right, Top Hat. Exactly right. I do too. I do too. I think tomorrow is going to be hard on everybody. Um, not calling myself a victim by any means, but this will, it's going to be rough to listen to it. I'm happy that the families will have an opportunity to speak to him directly and tell them. Right. Exactly, Jerry. Exactly. Right. Yeah. I remember it being a total surprise to us. It was a total shock. But there are circumstances, and some people went really hard for those girls. My God. Right. Right. It is, Happy. Yep. The boogeyman. Yep. No, Hunter, I totally agree. True Talk. Yeah, it was shocking to us when we found that out. But think about it. The first thing you think is, oh my God, that girl saw him. Oh my God, how scary. Like, oh, shit. And then you heard all these people saying all this stuff. And I have too. I have covered it from the very beginning. In fact, that's funny. Top Hats and I were talking the other night about how, remember how we tracked his plane and shit from Pennsylvania, and it's been crazy. Right, right. And all the things that you hear are exactly what you would think. That first of all, okay, even though you get all paranoid, you're like, okay, that's not happening. You talk yourself into believing this, believing that. Of course you do. Nobody says, and look how we heard just recently that she thought it was a firefighter for some reason, right? Because your head just tells you shit. You 100% are talking yourself down from some kind of scary ledge. That's normal. Yep, exactly right. And it's not like you were in your home with your family, everything's locked up, you've gone to bed. Somebody else in the house is not a strange thing, or is a strange thing, because that wasn't. You live with a bunch of other people. It was Top Hats. That was one of my very favorite lives of all time. We were so on point with that shit. You were. That was one of my favorite times ever. Nope. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, True Talk, but I do agree with you. I never found them to be any kind of part of it or. Right, and I'm very sorry to hear that. No, that was pretty awesome, Top Hats. It was. Not gonna. Exactly. And why in the world would you think, oh, that guy just came in here and murdered everybody? Why would you think that? Right. Right. I love that, True Talk. I love that. Yep. That's exactly right. You're exactly right. Right. But I'm even for myself, even at my age, you see something and your brain talks you out of things. It just does. I could see myself doing exactly what she did. Exactly what she did. I could 100% see that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, right, right. Yeah, I get that. Hmm. I know, Jerry. Oh God, I know. And I still always think, who said I'm here to help you? Did Ethan say that, or did Brian Kohberger say that? I kind of feel like what we learned recently, that Ethan was turned towards the wall and asleep, what we kind of think. I feel like it was Kohberger who said, I don't know. Yep. Yeah, exactly right. Yep. I agree. True Talk. I do. Yep. Yeah, that's what it seems like, right? Because we heard that somebody said that, and I've always wondered who said that. But it does appear that it was Kohberger who said it. I just pray for their peace and well-being, and to try to get past this as best they possibly can. I don't know how you do, but I hope they can. Well, he does, Happy, and he drove back over there. He was dying. He was dying to hear news about it. He could, look at how he was looking it up on Google. It was making him crazy that it didn't come out fast enough, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely understood consequence. I think he thought he wasn't going to get caught. I think he was planning to go around as some kind of Papa Rogers for a long time. I think that was a plan, that's who he was. That's what I think. He thought he was going to get by with it. Yep. Every time I always just think about that blood coming down from the foundation, it makes me just sick to my gut. It's so sad. Yep. I think so, True Talk. Yep. He knew the whole time that's what he was working on. And he would use that career wherever that took him and to feed into what he was doing. Right. That's another thing, Top Hats. Yeah, how much of what we have heard is factual or rumor? Yep. That's a good thought. Yep. But I don't know that we're going to get anything. Again, what I'm saying is they kind of said they're going to unseal stuff or release documents. Kind of. To me, there was a whole lot of buts involved in that. Oh my God. That's funny, Top Hats. Yeah, I think you're right. I think so, True Talk. Yep. Oh, absolutely. And how do we know what what he's done prior to this? I say at the bare minimum he has, tortured animals or something. He's done something. Like I always say, when somebody gets a DUI, that is not the first time they drove drunk. I mean, honestly, seriously, you believe that? And every time a pedophile is arrested, they've assaulted how many children by that time? Who knows? There's no way that he didn't do something prior to this. That would be very weird to me. Obviously, I don't believe he committed something quite this horrendous. But I feel like he's done something because he enjoyed that very much. Yeah, I knew there was something, but I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know enough about it to speak about it, but I had heard that there was something. Yep. Yeah, you guys are both talking about it. Yeah, I've always figured that that was probably true also. But you just figure, even like I said, as a kid, because if there's something that crazy in you, then it's just in you, right? I believe you're just born able to be like, I can't even stand the sight of blood. I can't watch things. I can't watch, as much as I have been all about true crime. I'm not down with looking at nasty stuff at all. And I think he loved that. Absolutely, Kentucky woman. Absolutely. I agree with that. They deserve a right to know what the hell happened. Yes, yes. And I think his parents did too. You can't tell me, you guys, it's way too weird. If he was just coming home for Thanksgiving, if that's all that was happening, why wouldn't he just fly home and fly back? For his dad to fly there and within 2 hours get in the car and drive all the way across the country makes no sense. If that was just for Thanksgiving, it wasn't. They knew that. I think everybody knew that. Well, he knew he was already in some kind of trouble with his school. He knew that was happening. Right. I think they knew. They needed the car out of there. Yep. Ugh. Gives me the creepies. And I don't necessarily blame the parents. I mean, God forbid you raise that. Fuck. But I do believe that everybody, I think the whole fucking family knew that car needed to be out of that area. 100%. Well, that's what we've heard, Happy. I don't know. I think they did. Like I said, what it doesn't make any sense that you wouldn't just fly him home for Thanksgiving. Right? I don't see how you could get your head around that. Yeah, I agree to your talk. Yep. How in the hell could you? I mean, good God. But I do believe that not just him, I believe, because what parent's going to fly over there and in 2 hours drive across the country just for Thanksgiving? That makes zero fucking sense. It just doesn't make sense. He knew he was in trouble at school, but I don't know that his parents knew that. I think whether any of them came out and said it out loud to each other or to him or anything else, I think everybody knew the car needed to get the hell out of town. Yep. Yes. And you know, those might even be certain things that the family wants to hear, because if they were aiding this, you know, assisting his, maybe they want more people charged, and maybe they should be. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to, what any parent feels, even his parents, I can't judge any of that. I can't imagine being any of these parents. I mean, I can never imagine my child doing this. I can't imagine it happening to my child. Hey, Jonathan. But I believe firmly that that family knew they had to move the car. Because nobody would just do that. And then to take off right immediately when you got there, that's crazy. Exactly. That's my thinking. My thinking is they suspected him, but they, as long as it was just an assumption, a suspicion, you can get through it. I don't know if they knew, but his dad sure as shit fucking got his ass over there and got that car. I mean, why wouldn't he just drive home by himself? If he's going to drive, just drive home. If you're just going for Thanksgiving, fly home for Thanksgiving. That's just crazy. It doesn't make a damn bit of sense. That has never made any sense to me at all. He was right. And you know, they had to go, okay, because this story was national, like immediately, international even. And they had to say, okay, that's very near where he's at. Most people are saying, oh shit, my child lives near there. Concerned about your child, you know, but they had to go, oh my God. And then as soon as that shit started coming out about the car, I think they said, fuck this, man. Yep. Yeah, I agree, Top Hat. I'm always gonna love my child no matter what, but I'm not going to ever defend this kind of behavior. I wouldn't defend the behavior ever. I feel like they were very freaked out. They didn't know what to do. Hopefully their idea was, I hope it's not him, but yeah, but I'm not gonna defend this kind of shit, and I won't protect it for sure. Right. You don't run. And I think that was their plan, to get that car out of there. Exactly, Queen. That's exactly right. All the way around, every aspect. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. Yep. I completely agree with that. 100%. Well, that's just it. If there's any way possible that your child did that, yeah, I don't know how you're not afraid. Exactly. Tomorrow's going to be hard. Don't forget to pray for the families. So we're going to end the night with this video. You know, the thing is, I think also he's had odd behavior his whole life. And they've been covering up for it, protecting it, or what have you. Yes, we're gonna cover Daybell sentencing on Friday. We're gonna cover Kohberger's tomorrow. Yep. So I'm going to play this and I'm going to end the live, and rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Right. Oh no, why do you have to go to the hospital, Kentucky woman? What's going on? Good night, Queen. You mean gallbladder? Oh, well, let's all say prayers for, yeah, everybody say prayers for Kentucky woman's daughter. Yep, absolutely. Yes, it was a pleasure, True Talk. I always enjoy when you come in. Very much appreciated. Yep. And everybody have a good night. Good night, everybody. Hope you all have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.